All right, we're here with Doug Hasker from Puesto. He is the brewmaster here, and you actually go back a little bit further when this was Gordon Biersch, and that was a good 20 years or so?
I'm 24 in the building now, yeah. It's been a long run.
So now it's Puesto, Mexican food here, and you're still doing the beers, and what you have done is you're going to do a little bit more Mexican flavors towards the beer. Mexican lagers and whatnot. We've got a whole flight of them here, so why don't you tell me what's going on with these delicious beers?
Well, we were tasked with making beers that would go with the food. The food is award-winning tacos from Mexico City style now here in San Diego. So I currently have 6 beers online. We have 4 standard that are our core beers, three Mexican lagers, Clara, Amber, and a Negra. And then an IPA since we're in San Diego, so we rotate the hops and rotate the grain bill on each of these. This is our 10-year anniversary year for the company at Puesto, so I made a Vienna style, a true Vienna style beer that might have been around in Mexico in the mid 1800s when they were getting Maximilian was alive, and he brought a bunch of Australians and Germans over to make. That's how they got their style of beer. And then I have 1 keg left over of a winter lager, a Mexican winter lager we call Navidad. It's for Christmas time. So
we're really lucky today because these last 2 beers are a little bit exclusive, and they had told me, oh, well, they won't be serving this anymore. But
we're going to have this one till the end of the year, the 10-year beer.
There you go.
And we're going to phase out the amber. Even though it's pretty popular, we just don't have enough tanks to make that year round. So we'll have a big splash when it comes back at Christmas time as well.
This one is the
Clara. That's our lightest one. It's half our sales. It goes with everything. If you think Pacifico, but better.
It is like Pacifico, but better. It's just got a little bit more structure to it, some flavor.
It's a little bit of depth. You can still taste the sweetness of the corn, yet it goes with everything. Goes with everything we serve here.
It's got a little bite to it too, kind of a what would you call that? I guess it's a cereal-y bite, almost minerally.
Yeah, the corn is a little bit sweet in the end, and that's probably what you're tasting. The amber. I'm really proud of the amber. It's got a whole lot going on when you taste it, yet it's still delicate on your palate.
This kind of models after a Dos Equis.
Yeah, but a little bit smoother, I think.
Yeah.
It's just a really nice, complex beer.
And whereas this one does have the little bit of bite at the end, this is really smooth.
Yeah.
So I take it that's part of the process.
It is. It's the caramel malts that are in there as well.
Okay, smooths it all out.
Yeah.
There you go, caramel malts.
You can taste caramel flavors in there.
Yeah, definitely.
But subtle. There's a lot going on.
It's lighter. It's not heavy. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit heavier.
Negra. The only difference really is that we use roasted malts here, so you get some roasted flavors in here. So
coffee and corn.
Yes, exactly. There's a little bit of chocolate malt in there, and then roasted malt. So the perception is coffee only because coffee beans are roasted. This is roasted barley.
Yeah, I'm not really getting a whole lot of coffee, but you do get that roasted,
right?
Almost like
and that's the idea.
Roasted nuts, maybe like hazelnut, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This one is the.
Incidentally, we won a GABF award on the Negra last fall.
GABF award.
We won a silver medal in that category.
Silver medal, and that's nationwide, right?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Nationwide or international?
This one is nationwide. There's a couple international, but it's not the big international. The next one's an IPA.
Okay,
we try to
IPA.
Keep everything fairly low in alcohol. These ones are all 5-ish, and then the IPA is around 6.2 alcohol.
You can smell it's IPA right off the bat.
Yeah,
there's that smell.
I was fortunate that I grew in this area around. I grew up around some of the best IPA, West Coast IPA brewers on the planet, and I used them to my fullest, to their fullest.
It's a nice, well-balanced IPA, you know, that, of course, what everybody likes here, but because of that, a lot of people go overboard and double IPA and triple IPA, everything, and it becomes a really big, you know, big monster in their mouth. But this is really it's a basic
We take a German approach to it. That's sort of my schooling, and it's something that nobody else really does. Is that we try to balance it out a little bit. On most beer, I use Green Flash as an example. That you have the malt and the alcohol and everything, but then you have the hops that are really up front, and we try to temper that a little bit so it's a little more balanced as it goes across the palate.
Okay.
I'm happy with all of them, really.
So far, so good. 4 for 4.
The Vienna is our 10-year beer. Again, it's something that I think you would have gotten something close to that, not quite as clean, in 1860s Mexico.
And speaking of that, there was a whole big beer scene going on in Mexico at that time, right?
There was a guy named Maximilian that came over from Austria, and he eventually declared himself emperor of Mexico, and he lasted about a year and a half before they executed him. And to my knowledge, he's the only emperor in the Western Hemisphere ever.
Probably.
And Simon Bolivar, I'm not sure that if he was ever an emperor, but he would be the next thing close, I think.
So the only emperor we had in the Western Hemisphere lasted a year and a half. So
right.
That's just, don't you come over here with your emperor nonsense.
They hated him so much they beheaded him and sent his body back to Austria. They wouldn't even bury him over here. And so, but the good thing is that all his buddies liked it here and stayed. They didn't like the cold weather, so we got to keep the beer. So that was fun. Do you like that one?
I do. I love. Mike Hess has a really good one, and
they do.
It's not one of the more popular. Everybody loves their IPA, so I go looking for a Vienna. I gotta search high and low, but I do love that a lot. This one here is the one I'm really excited about.
It's called a Navidad. It's a Mexican version of a German Winterbock. So I joke a little bit about it, but corn is added to Mexican beers. Most of these have corn, not the IPA, but all the rest do. And so it makes it a little bit sweeter in the end. But we also try to speak Spanish on brew days, which makes it Mexican. So this is a German version, or a Mexican version of a German Winterbock. We call it Navidad.
That's something that I've asked a lot of brewers, well, what is it about a Mexican lager? And they go into the yeast and the this and that, but it's corn, right?
Corn's a lot of it. Yeast is a big part of it, though. There are yeasts the yeast that we use is just a little bit fruity in the finish, where the German style lager yeast that I'm used to from Gordon Beer were really sulfury and clean that way. Gotcha. That's what you get in Munich beers. It's more sulfury. So you take away the sulfur, add just a hint of fruit in the finish, and you get Mexican beer.
And the reason I'm excited about this, it's leftover from Christmas. It's a Christmas type beer. I was telling him earlier that when I was a kid, my parents had the Noche Bueno, the Mexican beer with the poinsettias on them, and that's kind of like a childhood memory. I really haven't seen it around. I don't know if it's still around, but
it's around. I don't know if they import it. I'm not sure.
It used to be everywhere back in the day.
Right.
So this is why I'm looking forward to drinking this, and let's see what's going on here.
It's a little bigger than Noche Bueno, though.
This has got a lot of sweetness to it, huh?
That was a good reaction, though. But
it's smooth and sexy. That's why I went, ooh. Gotta tell you. So what's the secret with this one?
We do on the malt side. We do a full decoction on this, which is a German way of thickening the malt side of the beer, where you cook it at different temperatures and then you boil part of it. And we add a little bit of corn.
And that's it.
And that's it. We used the Mexican yeast on that one as well. Interesting though. On this one, we used a German yeast, so it's got a little bit of a sulfur going on. And then for Cinco de Mayo, we make a Pilsner beer. We've already brewed it for this Cinco de Mayo. And so you have that to look forward to if you want to come in and try that one. And that's, last year we did a similar recipe, we improved on it. All of these recipes, I have in my brain where I want them to be. And so it takes a little bit of time to get there. Sometimes it's too malty, or too roasty, and not enough roasty, or it's not dark enough, and all these things. And so this year's Cinco de Mayo beer Pilsner, I expect to be a lot better than last year's, which was, I think, the best beer we made last year.
Sounds good. Well, Puesto, we're down here in Mission Valley. It's the old Gordon Beers building. They still got the tanks and everything, and Doug's making the beer. So the deal is they got some really great Mexican food here, and it's very authentic. It's very high end, and so you want beer that's fresh, and it's made right here on the premises. It's also Mexican style. You can see all the different colors and the different styles. That makes your dining experience so much better.
They go with everything and they stand alone. The big adjective that we use is crisp and clean, which these are going to be cleaner than most of the Mexican lagers that you ever have.
Crisp and clean, you heard it here. All right,
Perfect.
thank you, Doug, and
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.